Hey, and welcome back to the Fi Guys podcast. Today we're doing a special pod all about you, the listener. It's a listener AMA, Ask Us Anything. Today we're going to be covering a few topics, including the most powerful way to think about money. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Dominic, what's the first question we have here on our Ask Us Anything?
Can I afford a $1,300 and it's $1,320? That's such a weird amount for an apartment on $45,000 of income. Howdy, I make $45,000 and my take-home pay is around $1,400 bi-weekly. I'm 22 years old and I'd like to move in to the city. That's nice. The apartment rent is $1,320. It's so bizarre. When I add in my student loans, car insurance, I have about $1,000 left to save, spend on groceries, etc. Is this enough to live off of, or should I try and find a roommate or second job? How much do you think I should spend on rent? I currently live with my sister and I pay her about $900 a month, and I feel fine with that. That's our first question of the day.
Cool.
What do you think?
So when I think about that, have you ever heard of the 50-30-20 rule?
I have. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, for sure. Now, here at the Fi Guys, we're not very big on like financial rules, because whenever you try to put like constraints on someone, everyone says like, oh, I'm an individual, I'm my own person, but give me the financial rules that work for every single person in every situation. That's the reason I'm not a big fan of them. But the 50-30-20 rule is a good rule of thumb to think about. So what that means is 50% of your take-home pay goes to your fixed expenses, your housing, your utilities, all that kind of stuff. 30% goes to wants, 20% goes to savings. So right now, just based off what we said, we just have that 50-20-30 rule, $1,300 a month, $1,320 to be specific, going just to the apartment, and he's making only $1,400 bi-weekly. That means that almost 50% of his income is going just to rent. That doesn't include utilities, that doesn't include food or anything else. So is it doable? Yeah, 100% it's doable. But is it ideal? Probably not. My recommendation would be, if he's going to do this, he should probably get a roommate, maybe try to move into like a 2-bedroom place. Because I'm going to guess if you got a 2-bedroom, if a 1-bedroom's costing you 13, a 2-bedroom might cost you 18, 17.
Yeah.
Which would be a better situation. But he's also used to already spending $900 a month to pay his sister rent. So that's only $420 additional a month.
Yeah.
To be able to go there. I mean, maybe a second job could be a good way, but if you're trying to get out of your sister's house, you're trying to move into the city. I understand that. It's going to be a little bit tough though, to live only off of $1,000 for all of your groceries, car insurance, all of that stuff.
It's not the move.
What do you think?
I think, like you said, it's doable, but it's not comfortable. You don't want to move into a place and be house poor.
Yeah.
You're moving into the city to experience the city, but you can't experience it if you don't have any money. I like the idea, since they are comfortable with having a roommate. I think getting a 2-bedroom, like you said, a little bit more, but split that in half. It's cheaper than buying a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I think I think it's good there, because, while $400 doesn't sound like a big deal, when you're talking about living off of $1,000 or living off of $1,400, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's almost 50% more than you would be living off of. That $400 could be going towards your investments, towards savings, towards building up that emergency fund, that crisis fund, or just having fun with it. Hopefully you're having a mix of both things. But $1,000 a month to live off of is not a lot, especially when you're trying to say, like, I also want to pursue FI and do all these things. It'll just be very, very tight. And I would try to be worried about for our listener here.
100%. 100%. So how much do you think they should be spending on rent and grocery? I'm just curious. I know we talked about 50% or that stuff, but what do you think is the ideal amount that they should be hunting for in that market?
Well, first off, I would say making $45 a year. I don't know like how long if this person's like right out of school, how young they are. Oh, they're 22. Okay.
22.
So 45. So
probably fresh out of school.
Probably fresh out of school. Okay. So this is probably your first job or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So 45, that's cool. I'm not going to say like go out and find a better job right now. Like right now you're building up skills and that's what you need to do. Maybe work on like a side hustle or something like that. But the thing with side hustles, I think side hustle has like a really bad connotation, and that people think, oh, if I'm side hustling, then it means I'm like driving for Uber or doing like that. When I say side hustle, I mean like creating a second source of income that is not,
Yeah.
that could be working a second job. Ideally, it's starting your own thing. Well, I think we've talked about it in our side hustle is whenever you start your own thing, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You know, if you start a podcast like we have, if you start a business like we have, if you try to do anything like that, none of those things are scalable quickly. But if you start working on it now at 22, when you look back at 26 years old, you're going to be like, man, thank God I started that. Even though I grinded for 4 years, now I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor produce money that I can, you know, now invest this extra income to do whatever the heck I want with.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
But to answer your question, how much money should you spend on rent? I would say you don't want to have more than 50% of your income, like I said earlier, going towards your fixed costs. And fixed cost means everything that is fixed. So that means your groceries, that means your insurance, that means your housing, your utilities. And then the other 50% is going to be your wants, which are true wants, like going and traveling, going out to dinner with friends, things that you don't actually need. And then the rest of it, my goal has always been to have a 50% savings rate. So me and my wife, we try to live off of one of our incomes, actually less than one of our incomes, and the other one's income goes all towards savings and retirement. And even when, before we got married, my goal when I was working was to always max out my Roth IRA, max out my 401k, max out my HSA, and put at least like $20,000 into a qualified account, into a non-qualified account. So I was saving about 50% of my income before we got married too. And I'm not saying that people should do that. That's just what I did. Looking back, I wish I would have lived a little bit more than I do or did, but it's okay because now, you know, in my young 30s, I live a life of basically financial independence, with the exception of I still do work. I still do my own thing because we're not trying to retire early. We're not trying to not have to work. We're trying to have the ability to choose to work the way that we want to.
Definitely. I love that. Well, I hope that helps that listener. Should we get on to our next one? Or do you any more final
No,
thoughts?
I think that's good.
Alrighty, so this is one actually a friend of mine reached out and I was telling him, I was like, hey, we're doing an AMA. They're like, oh, I have a question. Like, send it to me. So here's my question from my friend. So I recently got in a car accident. The car was unfortunately totaled, had to go to the hospital. Very unfortunate. Had some medical bills. The car that they crashed, they got hit, right? So it wasn't their fault. But they were only 2 years away from paying the car off.
Okay.
So, and they had a really nice monthly payment. It was like $200, like $230. Insurance was another like $112. So in for it, you know, in the threes. But they're moving soon, actually. They're moving soon. So they got to look for a new car. But they're wondering, they found a really nice car that they want. Not saying their dream car, but a car that's a little bit out of their budget. It's a Volvo. But it's 2 states over. Right? What do you think is better? Should they get a car that is 2 states over, a little bit out of their budget, but it's more of a long-term play? It's a high monthly payment, though. Roughly let's say $450.
Is it a brand new car or is it a used car?
No, used.
Okay.
Used. Used Volvo 2018, I think. 2019.
Okay.
Or do you think it's better to get a cheaper car locally, but it's more of, I don't want to say a beater, but something where you can get similar payments as they were before with that $200, $300 car payment? What do you think?
Well, they're going to be moving soon. So, I mean, this is your friend, so you can kind of tell me as much or as less as you want, but I want to ask some questions on that. How much did they get for their car from insurance?
$5,000.
Okay. Did they think that that's reasonable amount of money for the car that they had? Because you can always challenge that. I mean, if they've accepted the money, then they've accepted the money and it's over now. But
I believe they accepted it. I believe they did accept it. So it's done deal.
Okay.
I actually didn't know you could challenge that. That's good to know. It was their first car. First car. So of course the value that they place on it is going to be higher than what the market deems.
Yeah, you need to use like Kelly Blue Book. You can't be like, I think my car is worth this. Like it's total is loose because the reason it's total is because of the airbags and some of the
cosmetic damage. Engine's fine. Everything else is fine. So it's unfortunate to see it go to waste like that. But I'm sorry, what was your question?
Do you know if the chassis is still working or if the chassis got damaged at all?
I don't believe the chassis got bent.
They could always, I mean, with $5,000, your friend may want to just re-put all the airbags in and just continue driving the vehicle with damage on it. That could be an option as well. But their more specific question was, do I buy this more expensive car 2 states over? And 2 states is not a big deal. Like you can get that on a U-Haul or just fly over there and grab it, drive it back.
Yeah.
Or should I buy a less expensive car? Now, you said that they're going to be moving soon.
Yes.
When they move here, do they have a job set up?
They don't have a job set up, but they're planning to get a job, obviously.
Do they have a job currently?
They have a job currently, yes.
Okay. Are they applying? When are they planning on moving to their new state?
Within the year.
Okay. Are they looking for jobs currently in their new state?
Yes.
Okay. Any luck with that?
No luck yet.
Okay.
No luck yet.
That's okay. The big reason that I asked that is I have trepidation to say that you should go and get the more expensive car right now with so much up in the air. If you're going to be moving to a new state, I also assume that you're going to have more expenses than what you're thinking, because moving is far more expensive than anyone ever thinks it's going to be. Most people think it's going to be like, oh, it'll be like $1,000. It's more. It's always more.
It's always more. Yeah.
So that'd be my biggest concern there. Right now, it actually makes more sense to buy a new car than a used car. And I know that's really, really weird, but the used car and the new car market, there still aren't a lot of vehicles out there due to COVID, during when all the microchips, they all got slowed down. So there's still a reduced amount of production still out there, but with factory rebates and then tax incentives and all this other BS, buying a new car is actually more cost effective than buying a used vehicle. Because you're getting all of the factory rebates that you wouldn't get if you got a used vehicle. Now, of course, that's a general statement. That's not going to say buying any new car is going to be cheaper than buying a used car. But in general, that's the way that things are working right now. Strange, I know, but that's just the way it is. But for this person, neither one of the vehicles are new, right? That they're thinking about purchasing. In that case, I would probably say go with the more of a quote unquote beater car. Now, it all depends on the level of beater, because you're going to be moving to a new state, right? And maybe if they're moving to a new state where they have friends or family or something like that, someone that can help them in case things go wrong with that more beater of a car, that's the way to go. But if you're going to be moving to a state that it's going to be your first time there, you don't have any resources or anyone helping you, having a car that has good transportation on it that you feel comfortable with, I think that's pretty valuable, more valuable than having a car that's broken. I'll tell you what I did. When I moved from San Diego to Sacramento, I had a 93 Jeep Wrangler. Beautiful car. Loved it. But it broke down every single weekend. And luckily, when I was in San Diego, my father was there and my dad knows vehicles very well. So he was able to help me fix it every weekend. But when I moved from San Diego to Sacramento, I knew my dad wasn't going to be there anymore. And I didn't feel comfortable fixing that car by myself every single weekend, knowing that he wasn't there to help me for the things that I didn't know how to fix. So I ended up selling that vehicle and I bought my brand new Toyota Tacoma back then. So I was able to afford a new car to finance it and to buy the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that buying a new car is always the right thing to do, but that was the right decision for me at the time to know that I have a brand new car that's under warranty and that if anything goes wrong, I'm good to go for a few years, because it was my first time moving out of the house, far away from my family. Is this going to be your friends? How old are they?
They're 26.
Okay. Is it their first time moving out or moving?
Second time moving out.
Moving to a different state?
Moving to a different state, yeah.
Not near family and friends?
No, other side of the country.
Okay. Yeah, then I would probably, just my thought there is it's really going to depend on what the vehicle in the state is, on how much of a beater it is. Now, if it's if it doesn't look cosmetically good, but internally it's a good vehicle, I'd say go with that. Keep the payments low to what you're already used to being able to do and hopefully being able to pay it off. You put the $5,000 that you got from the insurance towards it as well. Maybe you'll be able to get lower payments. I don't know.
Definitely. Do you
But
think since they already accepted the money, do you think it's too late to
no,
go and try and buy that car back?
it's owned by the junkyard now, so yeah, you can probably go there and do it because all the insurance company's going to do is sell it, is going to part it out.
Hmm.
You have to figure, you'd have to go to the insurance company and say, where do you guys have that? Can we purchase it?
I wonder how much they would actually sell it for.
Well, when they sell a vehicle for parts, they're selling it for parts. So usually they're going to go to a junkyard and they're going to say, how much are you going to buy this for?
Yeah.
And they're trying to recoup their costs as best as they can, but they're probably not going to get 5,000 for it. The 5,000 they paid you or your, Mhm.
But you could buy it back for like 2,000 or 3,000 or something like that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That's going to be a negotiation with the junkyard who has probably already purchased it.
Yeah.
Because this happens like really, really quickly. The insurance companies don't want to sit on vehicles because that's not their gig.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. I'll pass the word along and hey, watch the pod.
Yeah.
Watch the podcast. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate that one. Should we get into the main one of today?
Sure.
How do the Five Guys think or view about money?
How do the Five Guys think about or view money?
Yeah.
You want to start on this one and then I'll go?
Yeah, I'll start on this one. So, money is a few things to me. Money is energy. Money is time. Money is freedom, right? So, obviously, I think Chris and I have the same sentiment on money in certain areas. Money is freedom. Freedom to do whatever you want, when you want, how you want to do it. And nobody can tell you what to do, right? Some say money is the root of all evil. Some say the lack of money is the root of all evil. I don't think, I know for me, I don't glorify money. I'm not obsessed with it. I don't put it up on a pedestal. It's not like, gimme, gimme, gimme. I have to have it. No, I want it so that I can have my family do whatever they want. If I want to take them to Disneyland, we can go to Disneyland. If I want to get them a nice, safe car, I can get them a nice, safe car. Yeah, so to me, money is freedom of choice, freedom of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is to me. On the spending side, on the acquiring side, money is time, money is energy that I'm trading for it, unfortunately. Unless I've figured out a way to arbitrage my time for more money and all these different ways, which is possible, given the right set of skills or business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be my view on money, and that's what I think about it. What do you think about it, Chris?
So what I'm trying to think is like, what is the listener trying to get at with this question? How do you think about or how do you view money? Okay. And the reason I think of that is the way I view money, the way I think about money is a tool. Like, and I do like what you said there, and that money traditionally is that you trade your time, you trade your life energy for money. And that's why money has so much connotation around it, so much negative feeling, so much negative energy around money, because at the core of it, we trade our life for money. So whenever we have to spend money, it's like we're trading our life energy to have something. And that just kind of sucks to have that bridge there and to feel that bridge. And every time I buy something, like I want to buy this little cute cat or whatever the hell I want to buy, now I have to trade my life energy in order to acquire. But at the end of the day, I try to look at money simply as a tool. What I think our listener is getting at is the way they view money, and the way that a lot of people view money, especially people who have like money trauma, is money becomes this big taboo subject that is substantially more than what it is. So money becomes scary. Money becomes fearful, when at the end of the day, that's like being afraid of a hammer. Like the hammer isn't bad. If you choose to pick up the hammer and hit somebody with it, then the hammer wasn't the bad thing. You were the bad thing. Same with money. Yeah. And the way I look at money is, like I said, it's just really a tool that I can utilize the way that I want to utilize. And the reason that I became a financial advisor, the reason that I love money, and not to say that I'm in lust with money where I like always desire, but I do love money like a friend, is because it helps me to live the life that I want, a life of freedom where I can choose to go wherever I want to go, do what I want to do with constraints, right? as you make more money, it doesn't create more problems. But as you make more money, you can get yourself into more money problems than you could if you don't have any money at all.
Fair. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I like that. I like the way you put it's your life's energy. That's what you're trading to buy this thing, this product. I think, dude, wow. I mean, if you thought things were expensive before, that puts a whole new price on it. My goodness.
And I think just being mindful of that, that's something I took away from Buddhism, honestly, like kind of making that connection.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that they'll spend and they end up feeling bad about it. And that's kind of where I'm thinking our listeners going with it is they'll spend money and they feel bad about it, or they just don't feel good, or, you know, that's what it really comes down to. Is it comes down to like a feeling, and money isn't a feeling. Like money is a tool, and we're trying to put our feelings, our hopes, our dreams into this inanimate object. You know, because again, money is a trade of our life force, which is feelings, which is everything, in order to acquire this inanimate object. But that inanimate object allows us to go out and purchase the things that we need in our life. And I think this is the biggest thing. When you make a purchase, you're buying one of three things. Number one, you're buying an identity. Number two, you're buying a feeling. Or number three, you're buying a necessity. So whenever you go out, if you're purchasing a necessity, if you're purchasing food and like food that's going to nourish your body in order to like allow you to survive, those are the things that you need to buy. And like, I usually try to say like, don't compromise on those things too much. But when you're buying a feeling or when you're buying an identity, those are the things you need to question. You know, when a lot of people, I was just in Japan recently, and the Japanese people are so great, but one thing that I noticed is a lot of it was they all had like very designer handbags, designer things.
Really?
That was, it was interesting because I didn't expect that. And it could be because the places I traveled to, like I traveled to like the nicer hotels.
Places. Yeah.
So it could have been that. But what I was watching them is like, you guys have been in a recession for 20 something years. The Japanese economy might be going into another recession, and like, why are you guys like everyone's house? Like they're so, what's a good way to say this? They are not like Americans in so many ways, but then I can see like they're trying to show people that they have status like we do in America in other ways. But what I'm seeing is they're trying to buy an identity, or they're trying to buy the feeling. They're not buying a necessity when you're purchasing a super nice handbag or super nice boots or whatever it is you're purchasing.
Super expensive.
Yeah.
Super expensive. Because you can have nice stuff and it be cost effective.
That's true. Yeah. So a super expensive or something that like shows it. You're trying to buy the feeling, or you're trying to buy the identity.
Yeah.
And those are the things you need to question. Is my life energy worth this feeling, this momentary fleeting feeling, or this identity that no one cares about? But I'm trying to show other people that I am worthy.
Wow.
The moment that you're able to separate yourself from that, I think that money really opens up, and you're able to see that it just really is a tool that you can do whatever you want with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you stop caring about the way that other people view you.
Mm-hmm. Do you think people have to go through that phase of dumb purchases to impress people in order to learn that they don't have to impress people?
Yeah, I mean, I would wish that someone could just like listen to my words and be like, I get it. But
yeah,
honestly, it's kind of like taking a beautiful picture and then someone looks at the picture like, you had to really have been there though to like really seen it. You know, like you see a solar eclipse. You ever seen a solar eclipse in person?
No.
They're crazy. Like to actually be like in the full amount of it. If you see a photo of it, you're like, oh, that's cool. But like being there, it's very, very different than seeing a photo of it. Yeah. I think it's the same thing for experiencing that. I mean, I've gone through my stupid phase of spending all my money. I grew up with a lot of money trauma, a lot of money issues, a lot of dumb mistakes that took me years and years to get past, and issues that I still deal with today. You know, for me, one thing that when it comes down to like, how do you view money or what do you think about money? I don't have an abundance mindset when it comes to money. I have a scarcity mindset in that I never have enough. or I always feel like it could be taken away from me.
I see.
So like, that's my issue that I deal with every day, and that's okay. But again, that's not the money's fault. That's a me issue. But people, they take these feelings that they have, like, oh, my money is going to be taken away, or there's never enough money. Like, I can't make money. I can't save money. And they blame the money for it.
Yeah.
But it's them.
Yeah.
It's them. They're the ones causing these issues in their life, but they're blaming money. They're blaming this inanimate object. The same thing that, you can't buy a gun. Like, I know guns. I like guns.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with loving guns.
There's nothing wrong with guns. I know politically, like, people are like, oh, guns kill people, but like, guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns.
Yeah.
Same with a kitchen knife. Like, no one thinks kitchen knife is bad when I'm cooking sushi, but if I was to stab Dominic, then of course this kitchen knife is bad. But the kitchen knife did nothing. I did it.
Yeah.
I just happened to use the kitchen knife.
And same with money, like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Money, it's inanimate. It's not sentient.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist. It only exists in the physical realm. It's not in the mental realm. It's a tool, like you said. Use it how you wish. Use it to make bad decisions. Use it to make good decisions. Use it to hold scarcity for abundance, all that. How do you get past the scarcity mindset? What are you doing to work past that?
A lot of it is just reflecting on, like, my past and seeing, like, where does this come from? I know a lot of it is generational trauma from, like, my parents, their parents before them. I'm I'm first generation, like, college educated, second generation American. My grandparents immigrated here from Mexico. So, we weren't really taught about money. It just wasn't a thing. So, and that's okay. Like, that's how a lot of people are, but that means that there was still a lot that I had to overcome, a lot of traumas and stuff like that. So a lot of it, the reason that I became a financial advisor is because I was afraid of money. Like, it terrified me to think about money because there was so much feelings enveloped in money, but it wasn't the money that I was afraid of. I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of looking at all those feelings and seeing, like, all the inadequacies in me that didn't allow me to either attain more money or to keep the money that I was having, because I was trying to buy an identity. I was trying to buy a feeling. Until I realized that the money can't buy the identity that I wanted to. The money can't buy the feeling that I wanted to. That's all internal to me. The money is a tool that can help me achieve that, but that's the reason I pursued financial independence, because I thought once I achieved financial independence, I would finally be happy. I would finally be the person worthy of being happy. And then the rug gets pulled out from under you and you realize that you're the same exact person, just with a bigger amount of money in investment accounts. And then you have to come to the realization that whatever you're striving for, you never really attain until you can attain inner peace and be okay with that.
Absolutely.
So a lot of it's meditation.
Absolutely.
And like Buddhism and studying things above yourself and just being of service to others. That's the reason we started this whole podcast, man.
100%. 100%. Wow. Yeah, at the start, I thought you were going to say, like, make a shit ton of money, honestly. Just blow that bank account up. Just make it as much as possible. No, that's really interesting, though. That's really interesting. I agree with everything you just said. I mean, you can find happiness everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look to be someone because you are someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like my level of financial independence is not like abundant. I'm not balling out all the time. Like I very, very rarely ball out, but I made the decision to live a less auspicious life where I'm going out and like balling out all the time in order to have the financial freedom. Like, and that was a trade-off that I decided to make. And I also decided to live a life for basically a decade where I was saving 50% of my income and like living off of rice and beans, because I thought that I needed to hit this magic number to finally feel the feeling that I wanted to feel. Mm-hmm. And when you finally hit that number, you're like, oh, cool.
Nothing
changed. This feeling's still here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Money only solves money problems.
Yes.
Money
only solves money problems.
Yep. Simple as that, guys. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. It's not going to fix your relationships. It's It's not going to fix your mental health. It's, it only solves money problems.
Yeah. And I think in life, have I taught you about dopamine and like how dopamine is not the reward, but it is the pursuit of the reward. Once you actually attain the reward, the dopamine response stops.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think it's that exact same thing with money. You're trying to pursue these numbers, and money is funny because it's actually quantifiable. But the most important thing I think in life is that people want to attain mastery. They want to attain skill. They want to attain notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, people want to make themselves happy. But the way you make yourself happy is by helping others, by making other people happy, and trying to pursue this feeling of I have this identity, or I have this feeling. It's going to be really, really hard to purchase. I would say it's impossible to purchase the feeling or the identity that you want. Because even those people who you think are super happy, like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg must always be so happy, he's so rich. Elon Musk must always be happy, he's so rich. If you actually read biographies of these guys' lives, like Zuckerberg's a little bit different, but like Elon Musk's life sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It really does. But there are people who like study Buddhism. There's like Buddhist monks who have literally nothing. They have the clothes on their back and nothing. And they are the happiest people in the world. You don't need to have a lot in order to be happy with yourself if you can find inner peace. And now we're kind of moving outside the realm of financial independence, more into like Buddhism and Stoicism.
Yeah.
But I think if you can look at those two disciplines, it will help you so much. If you can grasp that, that was one of the biggest revelations I ever had that helped me with my money mindset, was figuring out my mindset.
Yes. We talk about it. It's probably one of the most repeated things on this podcast, but know thyself. Know thyself. Know where your faults are. Know where your strengths are. Know where you can be improving. Know where. Just know thyself. And I think the only way to know yourself is, well, there's a few different ways, but for me, in my world, the best way that I found to know myself is sit in silence. Like, I'll be just doing tasks around the house, and rather than like, oh, I'll have a podcast going, or I'll have some music going, it's like, no, silence.
Mm-hmm.
Let the mind do what the mind does. Let it talk to you. Let it feed you information. Let it tell you how it's doing. It's either that or going through something that's very difficult. Those are the two ways that I found that the easiest paths to finding myself. Either doing absolutely like clearing everything out, let my mind think, or doing something that's very difficult, or going through something very difficult, so that it tests you and you really figure out who you are. First one's more
in those moments.
Definitely more preferable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends, right? But I think that's one of the hardest things now is people are afraid to be with themselves because they're afraid of those feelings. Because I don't talk about it too much on the pod, but I struggle with anxiety, like pretty like debilitating anxiety. Don't take medication or anything like that. I just deal with it. But that has led towards like levels of like depression / melancholy, and that's just something that I deal with. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, the way that I have found to deal with that best is to continue to move forward, to test myself every single day, to suffer and to do hard things and to prove myself that I can do it. And also to sit in silence and to be okay with that. So many people are afraid of silence because they're afraid of what they're going to discover. They're afraid of what they're going to talk to themselves about. But you can only run away for so long because eventually it's going to catch up to you. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can afford to go on a silent retreat and like suffer for those 2 to 3 days of like pure suffering to only be in your own head, after you get away from that, you realize like that you're okay being bored and you're okay with yourself. Once you're okay with yourself, everything else kind of goes away.
100%. 100%.
And it's a practice.
Yep.
Like it's a practice.
Yep.
You might attain it for a little bit and it'll go away.
Yeah.
But like that's really good to do.
You can only run away from your demons so much before they hurt the people you love.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta deal with them before they hurt the people you love. Because you think that, I don't want to be alone because they're gonna hurt me. It's like, no. They're the product of you, and you're the product of, you know, your surroundings. And, you know, if I have a lot of tension built up, you know, my friends start talking to me and they say something I don't like and I snap, well, that's my fault. And they're going to be the brunt of what I should have dealt with internally. And it's just not a healthy way to live. So yeah, know thyself. And that's the best way to just not just get your money right, but get your life right.
Yeah, I think one other thing is like you gotta take ownership of it. So many people, like we said earlier, they view money as the issue. I'm not the issue. Money is the issue. Well, no, if you take extreme ownership, you a la Jocko Willink, you just take extreme ownership of it and you just say like, money is just a tool. I am the issue. What do I need to do in order to have more money, to spend less money, to be better with money? Do I need to get more education? Do I need to make more money? Do I need to spend less money? Do I need a budget? Do I need to do like, what do I need to do? You need to take extreme ownership of every freaking thing in your life. Once you do that, everything gets easier. And it might be scary to accept that everything in your life is your fault. Even if you go out right now and you get hit by a car, that's your fault. Even if it wasn't, like, even if you can say like, no, Chris, it wasn't my fault. But once you accept that it is your fault, that's the way that you can start to move past it and figure out, how am I going to move forward? Because the person that hits you, they're not responsible for getting you through rehab. They're not responsible for making sure that you can walk again. That's on you. Doesn't matter what happened to you. It's on you to fix it.
100%. 100%. No one is coming to save you. You got to save yourself. You got to take responsibility for your actions and the actions of others and things that happen in your world. You get nothing by blaming other people. You look weaker. You are weaker. You got to take the ownership. You got to take the ownership.
Yep. Take ownership, help other people, and know that there are people out there who are willing to help you, but they can't do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have time for one more question?
I think I have time for two
more
questions.
questions.
I don't know. Let's see what we got.
Let's see. Should I use my bonus to pay off all my credit card debt? Next month, I will receive roughly a $12,000 quarterly bonus. That's a nice bonus.
Yeah, for a quarterly bonus too. So maybe he gets 4 of those.
So he could be getting that every quarter.
Maybe.
Damn, that's nice. Good for him. I have about $8,000 in credit card debt. Does not include my student loans. Should I use my bonus to pay off my debt completely or invest as much as I can first? That's an easy question.
Yeah, so I think we can do 2 more questions. Yeah, get rid of that. And here's the reason why. And this is what I think about with a lot of debt. So I know there are a lot of financial talking heads. We're not going to name names, but people who say like anyone who has debt is bad and stupid and shouldn't exist anymore. I don't think that way. Like, do I love being in debt? No. But is debt okay? Is it going to come around just like the seasons of summer comes around for Phoenix? Do I like when it's summer in Phoenix? No. But it doesn't mean that I'm like, oh my God, we're bad people for living here during the summertime. Yeah. Like it just is what it is. So the way I look at it is, if you have an interest rate, and this is my personal rule, if you have an interest rate below 7%, you can make the decision to either keep it or get rid of it depending on yourself. Because you should ideally be able to make 7+% if you just invest inside of a broad market index. But once you're at 8%, 9%, 10% or above, those are the get rid of, because you are not going to be outpacing that by investing. So you said that majority of that debt, that $8,000 is credit card debt. The average credit card APR is 20%. Mm-hmm. If you have a premier credit card like we use here on the Fi Guys in order to travel the world and stuff, they're 25 to 33%. So there's no way in hell that you are getting a return that is outpacing 20%, consistently. So if you just brought in $12,000 on a bonus, I don't know if that's before or after taxes. If it's before taxes, you're probably going to bring home like 9. So yeah, you're going to 8,000 gone, 1,000 to go have fun with.
Definitely. But
get rid of that credit card debt. Credit card debt for me is a hair on fire situation.
Yeah. Simple as that. So we do have a question. We do have time for one more question. So let's do that last one. Mm-hmm. How do I consistently wake up early? Ooh, I like this. I love a good non-money question. I know we're the Fi Guys and we love talking about money and finance and all that stuff, but I do love the non-financial questions as well. So let me read this one out. How do I consistently wake up early? So I have the hardest time waking up early. I can do like 2 or 3 days in a row, but then it all falls apart, especially on Sundays when I'm having trouble going to sleep because I'm staying up later. I want to wake up early because it really helps me with my productivity and discipline. It's weird. When I wake up early, I'm super disciplined. Even later in the day, I'll wake up, I'll go to the gym, then after school, I'll go for a run, study, etc. But when I don't wake up early, I'm just super lazy. I'll I'll sleep in from home and I'll sleep in. Okay, I see what he's saying. I'll sleep when I get home from school and do nothing till I go to sleep again. I've tried everything to wake up early, like phone alarms, stuff like that. The closest thing that helps me get up when I don't get up is a sleep cycle app. Okay, it wakes you up when you're in when you're not in your deepest sleep. Okay. Besides that, those are cool. Those are really cool apps, actually. But besides that, I have a really hard time waking up early. Do you have any tips? You're the wake up early king. You're the wake up early.
So let me ask you first, Dom. Are you a morning person? You an evening person? Like, where? I've never really asked you like what's your sleep schedule. I know that based off the times you text me, that you're up quite late because I don't see them till 4 a.m. the next morning.
Yep.
So, like, are you a night owl?
I would say it's tough. I would say I'm a night owl for the wrong reasons. Where I'll have like you have 6 tasks for me today. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 tasks for today. And other things to do as well. And sometimes when things go long, I have to stay up later and handle those tasks because I don't want them pouring over into the next day because the next day has tasks of their own. I end up staying up a little bit later. So I find that I do like to work at night, mainly because, well, similar for reasons that you do in the morning, is no one's up. I have my peace. I have my time. It's quiet. It's quieter. It's cooler out. It's nicer out. I can just be alone with my thoughts, right? I know sometimes when people say like night owls, there's a lot of negative connotation to it compared to the early risers. But I think to each his own. During the night, oftentimes I'll be editing. I'll be doing research on something. One thing I don't do late at night though is work out. I never work out late at night. That's something that has to be done early in the morning or midday. If it's past 5 o'clock, I'm not working out. So I always get my workouts in before then. If I work out at 8 p.m., dude, I'm amped. I am amped.
Yeah.
Unless I have a killer workout, then I'm just like, I'm drained and then I'm not going to get anything done. But I don't mind waking up early. I used to actually wake up at 3:45 consistently. It's kind of funny. This was right when I started going to the gym. This was many, many years ago. And when I started getting more into finance, my mom and I actually, because I lived at home, we would both wake up at 3:45 and we would go to the gym and we'd drive 18 minutes, go to the gym, have an hour workout, drive back, still in the dark. And I'd hop on my computer and I'd look at stocks and like all these different things. And this is back in the trading days. I don't do that anymore. I don't mind either or. I don't mind either or. But
okay.
Recently I've been more of a night owl than a early riser.
Okay. And the reason I asked that question is you actually brought it up and I didn't have to say it, but we have like a negative connotation for people that are up later. Mm-hmm. And we basically say like people that wake up early are like better than everyone else. And it's not true. Like they're just people. And I think if our listener here, you have to really know what your circadian rhythm is and like what's up to you. So you can go online, you can like Google circadian rhythm and you can like take a few tests. I know for me, I am an early riser / mid person. Like I'm in that category. But if you're a person who's like, I'm a late person, like you can force yourself to move on to a new cycle, but it is a bitch and a half to be able to do. So, but from our listener, they want to wake up early. They say they're more productive. That's how I am too. And just like this person, if I don't wake up early, I feel like my whole day is shot. Like if I'm not up at 4 a.m. or like before the sun comes up, I feel like my day's shot and the rest of it's like not even worth
Yeah.
doing. And that's my issue. Like, and is it true? No, of course I can wake up at 8 a.m. and still have the same exact day. But for me, being able to wake up before the sun rises and get all of my morning workout, my cold plunge, everything done before 7 a.m., before most people would get out of bed, I've completed more than most people have done and will do in the whole day. It makes me feel like a better person and allows me to continue the rest of my day very, very well. So some tips that I have for this is, in your brain, you have probably one of the best attorneys / lawyers who knows every single weakness you have, every single excuse, every single great argument to keep your ass in bed. The moment you wake up, I like that they are putting the phone across the room. You get up and then you make your bed. You do not get back in the bed. You don't lay down for 5 more minutes. You don't negotiate with that terrorist in your brain who is trying to tell you exactly what you need to hear. Don't do it. Don't think. Get up and do. That's something I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just get up and do. There's no time for thinking. So if you say, I want to wake up early, you set that alarm. The moment that alarm gets up, you're up. And you're just going to do whatever you have to do. And you have to want it more than your body desires you to want to get back in that bed. I think it's funny because there's three versions of ourselves, right? There's our past version, there's our current version, and there's our future selves. And past versions of us, they're always thinking they're ourselves right now, right? And they're like, oh, in the future, I'm going to get this done. In the future, I'm going to do this. But that means that present us has to actually do that thing that sucks. So that future us can look back at present us and be like, I'm really glad that that person did that for me. But that doesn't mean that right now, in this moment, I still have to do this shitty thing, like wake up at 4 a.m. I have to get inside this freaking cold plunge. I have to go and work out. Even though you know future you is going to like you, even though you know past you said that you're going to do it, it's you right now that has to actually do the damn thing. So you have to want it. You have to want to wake up early. And it all starts the night prior. It's about getting to bed at a consistent time every single night. I say you want to be getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. I know there's some people that can run on 6, and great for them. I'm not one of those people. I'm a 7 hour guy.
I'm an 8 hour guy. Like to the T.
Yep.
Like I know exactly within a 10-minute margin of when I'm gonna wake up, depending on when I go to bed. I mean, I don't even need to set an alarm. Do you have an alarm set anymore?
Yeah, I set it for 4:30. Okay. But normally I wake up before that.
I mean, if I have something,
I set for 4:30.
Like today's podcast, I was like, okay, I'm gonna set an alarm just in case, because last night I didn't get too good of sleep. But I was like, okay, and 8 hours later, woke up exactly when I thought I would have. Didn't need an extra call. Didn't need that extra sleep.
So waking up in the morning starts the night prior. Mm-hmm. So right now, first up, we need to do is we need to have consistent sleep schedules where we know we're going to go to bed at this time and try to start getting to wind down. Before we go to bed, I try to not eat 3 hours before I lay my head down. I also try not to work out at least 2 to 3 hours before going to bed as well. Because exactly what you said, that was one of the hard things for me doing jujitsu. If I'm going to jujitsu at night to train, it's hard for me to fall asleep. Because unfortunately, most of our jujitsu training doesn't end till 7 or 8. And I'm usually in bed by 8:30 or 9. So I have to go to morning classes and afternoon classes. And I'm usually just skipping the evening class unless it ends at 6. That way I can have at least 3 hours before that. I don't cold plunge at night. I only cold plunge in the morning too. So consistency there. I also try not to drink water at least an hour and a half to 2 hours before. I mean, I'll have sips of water, but I'm not chugging a large amount of water before bedtime because I don't want to wake up to pee in the middle of the night and disrupt my sleep cycle. And then after that, I do my 6 tasks in Vital 1. So the night before I go to bed, I write down everything that if I completed these 6 tasks tomorrow, then it'll be a good day. And that way I get all that crap out of my head. I'm not thinking about what do I have to do tomorrow because I already wrote it down in my phone and I know what I have to do. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to focus on what's most important to me, which is my health, working out, taking care of my dogs, doing the things that have the long-term benefit. Then I'll get down to my tasks and get all that stuff done. But, and then also he said on the weekends, Sunday is hard for him because on Saturday he's going to bed. If you're staying up late on Saturday, that's going to throw off your whole week. Like you can't be like, I'm going to be disciplined only on the weekdays and on the weekends, I'm going to let it all go to shit. You have to try to stay as consistent as you can. For the weekends, I set my alarm for 5:30 instead of 4:30, but I still end up probably waking up at 4 anyways. But if my body wants to sleep until 5, that's okay too.
Yeah. I think listening to your body is the most important thing you can do. Listen, yep. I'm not the listener. I'm not Chris Monzon, I'm Dominic James. One thing also I would say, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but one thing that's really helped me recently is I charge my phone on the other side of the room. Yep. Charge it on the other side of the room. Also, when it gets closer to nighttime, all the lights in the house, they, rather than being like really bright, they turn like to a deeper red. So it kind of like calms me down a little bit. It just puts me in a nice bright mood. Because it's like middle of the night, you'll hit your phone and it's just like, it just beams you and you're like, oh, Jesus and crackers, that's so bright. And I hate that. So everything goes red. Same for like the phone, like it goes into sleep mode at like 8 p.m. where I don't get any notifications and they'll be silenced. And then what else? Also on the iPhone, they have a really nice sleep app. It's in the alarm section. You do like sleep, so you calculate how much time you want to be asleep, and then they have wonderful alarms that'll wake you up. I highly recommend those.
So you actually brought up a few points that I also thought about. So I wear blue light glasses. I put those on usually at 7 a.m. To block out blue light. My phone at 8 p.m. Okay. 7 p.m. I put on the blue light glasses to start like blocking out blue light. My phone at 8:30 or at 8 will go into grayscale mode.
Okay. Yes.
So it's always in eye comfort mode too, where the blue the blue is. So like my phone, if you look at it, you're like, what's wrong with your screen? Why does it not look like bright?
It's yellowish.
It's because I don't like it bright. It's always yellow. And then it goes into grayscale mode. So I don't want to look at it as it's getting dark. Because like if it's just gray, it's boring to look at.
True.
And then I think this is the biggest thing. I don't check emails. I don't try to watch any news, anything that's going to like inflame me or make me upset or anything like that. I'm not trying to do. Even in bed, for bed, I try not to watch TV in my bed. I try not to eat in bed. Bed is for sleeping and being with my wife. Like those are the two things. Other than that, like that's what my bed, you don't want to like mix your brain up with thinking like, oh, I guess in bed we watch TV and we eat and we do workouts or like whatever you think it is. Bed is for sleeping.
Yep. Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Also, getting a nice mattress, making sure that your room is cool enough. Temperature, it plays a big part. If you have the money, I've heard great things about the 8 Sleep mattress cover. I love that. I want to get it so bad. I'll probably get it eventually. I'm getting a new bed soon, so it's gonna be exciting. Hopefully, I get a purple mattress.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Have you tried them? Have you ever like tried laying on them?
Yes, they're. I know really? For you. I know for you. You need a lot of structure. Need a lot of structure, and these ones, even their most firm one,
it's like a water bed. It's like laying in a
water bed. It's freaking cool. It's freaking cool.
Okay, if you like it.
Cool. Now, will my back like it?
If you like it.
I'll have to get the firm one. I'm a medium boy at heart, but their medium is basically a water bed as well, so I'll probably have to get the firm one. But it'll probably take some time to get used to. But better than the bed I have now, that's for sure.
Yeah. For that, I mean, definitely try to cool your body down as much as you can. Your body wants to drop, I think, 2 degrees in order to go to bed. In order to like sleep well. So one thing you can do is actually take a hot shower, because that'll drop your core temperature by taking a hot shower, because it's going to try to expunge all the heat. Mm-hmm. So that could help you to go to bed too. Take a hot shower before you go to bed. But yeah, I mean, I know that this isn't very much a financial question, but I think, setting up yourself in the morning sets you up for the rest of the day. And if you set yourself up well for the rest of the day, like this person said, they're more disciplined. It means you're going to be just better on your money, better on everything. Being good with money and being good with life, money is your life energy. That is what money is. That is what we trade for. Money is our life energy. So if you have better life energy by waking up early, then I think it's a part of FI. Like,
Definitely. I mean, the better you become at mastering yourself, the better and easier it'll be to master everything else. Simple as that. Simple as that, guys. Well, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Hope you got something out of it. I guess we'll see you on Friday. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Remember the fee for the show. Tell a friend. That's always very much improved over here. But yeah, till next time, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. And tune in for Friday feedback. I'm going to be talking all about my trip to Japan and showing some photos. So if you normally listen to the pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player you're on, go ahead and tune into YouTube because we'll be able to show you some of my photos from Japan. I went during cherry blossom season, so we have some really cool photos.
Later, guys. Peace.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.